Hello everyone and welcome. I'm really excited to be here. Today we will go through how we build a platform as a product to serve internal and external customers with high SLOs expectation and how we can use ChatOps and Github bots to boost the developer productivity and serve in parallel engineering and non-engineering teams in Mattermost. So before do a deep dive, we need to understand what is Mattermost, as some concepts are based on Mattermost. And Mattermost is an open source platform that provides secure collaboration for technical and operational teams. And we'll go right now through the Mattermost cloud story and how we built a SaaS platform. Back in the days, we had an idea to offer Mattermost as a SaaS product and built Mattermost Cloud, and we initiated all the software development lifecycle. So right now we'll go through this lifecycle of Mattermost Cloud and identify in each phase actually what was the details, what was the thinking around that, and the decision made. First, we start with planning. We try to identify what is the current team's capacity. Do we need more resources, hire? Do we have the right skill set? Is the team structure, the current team structure enough, and the responsibilities? What will be the cost of the development and running and operating such a platform? And the milestones to launch Mattermost Cloud. At that time, we had adopted the Dev and Ops collaboration model, with each team specializing where needed, but also sharing where necessary, so there was collaboration between them. And then we passed to the next phase, which were the requirements. In this phase, actually, we did a deep dive on to understand what is the ideal customer profile, who's going to use our product, the features, the user flows, the SLOs and the SLAs. We need to support our SLA agreements with the customers. That we need an incident response, that we need to focus on scalability and performance to host thousands of workspaces and customers for Mattermost, and security and compliance. At that time, we realized that we need to introduce an SRE team, and the collaboration between the dev and the SRE happens around operational criteria. So when the SRE team is happy with the code and the production readiness reviews have been approved, then they are able to support it in production. So we introduced 4 new teams based on the requirements and the planning we had initially. SRE will be responsible to build and operate a reliable, scalable, secure, and cost-efficient SaaS platform. Automation and tooling will be actually the team to build the automation, the tools to orchestrate and manage the fleet of the customer workspaces. Delivery will be responsible in terms of the CI/CD and all the release lifecycle and cadence and the release cadence for our cloud customers. And we came with the strategy, okay, we're going to build a SaaS platform which is going to be used by customers. They're going to host their Mattermost workspace in our managed infrastructure. So we moved to the design phase and we tried to identify a couple of things there. What will be the technology stack, the core components, the system architecture, security controls, the compliance and attestations, the testing strategy. So a couple of things, and not only this is just a high level. And some examples and some decisions were already in AWS, and we decided that we need to use a managed database, RDS Aurora. We decided that we want to use Kubernetes to host easily thousands of Mattermost workspace and customers. And Mattermost operator to simplify the deployment of Mattermost workspace. Customer server and the customer portal to interact with the customer, the provisioner, and the fleet controller, which we're going to discuss in a few minutes. So we came up with this high-level architecture. So you can see this is a whole SaaS platform. And what you can see here is that we have a command and control Kubernetes cluster and a couple of worker Kubernetes cluster, which host actually the customer workspaces. And the flow starts actually with the customer visiting the front end, which is the customer portal, interact with the customer server and the customer portal, and instruct provisioner actually, which is a central point of management for Mattermost cloud resources, to dictate and command operator in the worker Kubernetes cluster to create a Mattermost workspace for a specific customer. And we see also the fleet controller, which is actually a service responsible for tracking Mattermost workspaces and making tweaks such as hibernating or deleting inactive workspaces. So it's mostly about housekeeping. So as we discussed a few minutes before, we identified also the testing strategy, and we realized that to test the SaaS platform at scale, it will need lots of effort and will be really complex, and it will be hard to automate everything. Will be cost inefficient because we'll run multiple customers, multiple workspaces, and have daily use and so on. and it will increase the time to market. Right? It was really important for us to launch Mattermost Cloud fast. So one of our core principles in Mattermost is to actually use our own product to complete our mission. And this is actually what we call, right, is dogfooding, right? So simply explained is that you will be able to understand exactly what it's like to use your product and the way that your users do actually if you use it, right? And this is the time where our motto as a group has been created. Build once and for all, and this is where actually also defined our mission as a group. The infrastructure group's mission: empower Mattermost to provide the SaaS platform as a product which serves internal and external users by guaranteeing that we operate an enterprise-grade SaaS platform with self-serve powers. So that was actually the mission of the group. So we refined our testing strategy and we decided that we should not over-automate, and we need to prioritize only the customer experience and some of the critical paths for automation around integration and end-to-end testing, and use the SaaS platform as a golden path to run a dog food, actually, the platform with test and dev ends, the support ends, and the demo ends, and we will see how we can do that. So the new strategy actually was to offer the SaaS platform to two customers, actually, the external customers as well before, and the internal customers. Developer, sales, QA, support, DevRel. And let's think that the internal customer is actually the early adopters, right? They're getting the latest and the greatest in the whole platform fast. So we can test whatever we deliver, all the changes we do in actually a real to identical actually platform in a test environment. So the new high-level architecture has been changed a bit. So actually, right now we have the same stuff, but you will see that we will include a few more things. So we have right now the customer control plane, which is about the customers interact with the customer portal. And in parallel, we have the developers control plane from, as you can see in the left side, where engineers interact with GitHub and Mattermost and with our internal developer platform layer, as you see. And apart from this, we have the non-developers control plane, where non-engineers, non-developers actually use Mattermost and interact with the internal development platform, and they are able, all of them, to use the SaaS platform, which is a test environment, and run their own workspaces in our clusters. So let's start with the developers control plane goals. We wanted to give them the self-serve capabilities to be able to do this by themselves and run test environments and dev environments actually in the platform. We wanted to support for staff and for open source contributors, as we are an open source company and we respect the open source community a lot. The developer experience should happen only with the tools we use daily. Actually, we should not introduce something new to increase the cognitive load and the learning curve. And we wanted to make the platform and the interaction as much as abstract as we can actually. Non-developers control plane, I would say there are not much differences there. I would say it's mostly difference in the sense that we support sales, support, and DevRel. Still, we have the self capabilities. Still, the user experience should be with the tools we use daily, and the abstraction of the SaaS platform should be agnostic. So we wanted to provide a seamless experience, and as we see, there are some common things. We have Mattermost, where we collaborate, we communicate, and we talk daily, and we use it actually on most of our day. So both groups, developers and non-developers, actually they use Mattermost. But there is one more thing, which is GitHub included in that, and we want actually to use the same interface as they had before. So we decided to use for GitHub the GitHub bots, and for Mattermost to use actually the ChatOps model, which we're going to discuss in a few minutes. What is it? GitHub bots or apps are used to automate and improve workflows. It's a small service which are running and interact with GitHub webhook events. And for that reason, actually, we created a GitHub bot which is called spinwick, and what it does is actually observes the GitHub labels in terms of the webhook event, and accordingly deploys Mattermost servers in Mattermost Cloud. So we have different type of test servers, using the customer portal through the CWS, through the customer web server, and using provisioner. So the design level architecture, it's actually, if we do a zoom in the IDP, right, There is another cluster, which is a couple of services running there. In this case, we see spinwick, and it interacts with GitHub. When something is happening in GitHub, spinwick actually listens to the changes in terms of the labels, of the labels has been added or removed, and interacts back with GitHub to provide, the context back to the user, what exactly is happening, what is the status, and so on. And spinwick still actually interacts with customer server to do what we discussed, capability through the customer server, and the other one to provision. Both of them, they will do actually a test environment, a test workspace in our test worker Kubernetes clusters. And let's see the self-serve capabilities of spinwick. And you can see here there is a pull request, right, which has been raised. And right now we want to test in the cloud test server. You can see on the right side where the arrow actually is placed that we have a label setup cloud test server, or setup hack cloud test server, or setup cloud and CWS test server. Actually, all these are actually triggering the flow we discussed before in the high-level architecture, where a cloud test server is created. And let's see actually how the whole interaction happens. So you can see here that I just added a label which is called setup cloud test server. So for the experience, right, and to make clear to the user that something is happening, spinwick is replying back with a comment to GitHub and says that right now we're creating a new spinwick test server using mattermost cloud. A few minutes after, actually 1 minute after, you will see another comment by spinwick which says that the mattermost server has been created successfully. Here is the access link, and utilize the name, the pull request numbers, and here are the credentials which are common for everyone to use in order to be able to log in your mattermost test server. But it's not only about creation, of course, it's about also removing the environments. So if I remove the label, it's gonna destroy the server. If I merge or close the PR, the test server also is gonna be destroyed. And that's the good thing actually we want to discuss, the good part we want to discuss right now, that why you need to have a common SaaS platform, right, and serve both customers, is that we discussed a few minutes in the high-level architecture about the fleet controller, and let's say that someone has a pull request which is running for many days. You have created a test server, and it's there. So imagine that this, if we have multiple pull requests which are actually in that state, then we will have multiple test servers just sitting there and not doing anything. So the fleet controller is responsible for the housekeeping, as we do with the customer experience, the same thing. So if there is an activity, after a few days, you go to the hibernate state, and if after this hibernate state there is no activity, it's going to be deleted. So the housekeeping is exactly the same as we offer to our customers, right? When they do trials. This makes the engineers a bit more hungry, and they want to automate a few more things. So we created another bot, which is a thing which is used to automate workflows in GitHub. Again, using labels, using / commands in comments for a pull request, adding labels for housekeeping into issues and PRs. And let's see some examples, right? So again, it's a self-serve, and we use the / commands. When someone is coming to Mattermost as an open source contributor and wants actually to contribute to Mattermost, they need to sign their Mattermost contributor agreement. And you will see on the left side, and the left image, that someone has been raised a pull request and got a comment back which says that you need to sign actually the Mattermost agreement. And once you have signed, just run /check -CLA to confirm that CLA is okay and green. And you can see that someone has signed, and runs after this in a comment /check -CLA, and automatically you will see on the right side that there is a status check which says CLA mattermost is green. So mattermod has another option, which is update branch. We can just update a pull request with the latest branch which is targeted to merge. For example, if I'm targeting main in my pull request, if I run /update -branch, I'm going to actually merge the latest changes from main, and you can see the example here that someone wrote actually a comment /update -branch, and this automatically mattermod actually merged all the changes which are included in the main branch. There are a few other things. There is also a few other commands, cherry pick, which is very handy for us in order to use in releases. So we want pull requests to be cherry picked in other multiple branches for bug fixes or for improvements. And we have also slash commands to run end-to-end tests, which are running in the SaaS platform, which is another thing we try to do. So we have the same SaaS platform to run the end-to-end tests. And there is the end-to-end cancel, which cancels the running end-to-end test if something is really slow. There's also the housekeeping part we discussed. If a pull request has an activity for a specific duration, actually, automatically mattermod will see these pull requests and will label them as stale, so it will be easier for us to go through these stale pull requests and see if it's something we need to add or something we need to recheck. So we discussed a few minutes before that one of our solutions to integrate mattermost was ChatOps. ChatOps is a collaboration model that connects people, tools, process, and automation into a transparent workflow. And just to understand, what exactly we talk about, if we're in a communication platform like Mattermost, right, a collaboration platform, without ChatOps, we need to communicate in chat for all the things we do together, even if we are engineers or non-engineers, and use something else to trigger a workflow or platform tool. So we tried, to make this seamlessly with ChatOps. Engineers or non-engineers anyway communicate in chat, and Mattermost can interact with bot and send commands to initiate workflows in the platform tools. So everything happens seamlessly in the platform you are, especially for the non-engineers, right? The non-developers control plane is really important as it's the number one thing they use daily. ChatOps with Mattermost, actually we offer a bunch of options to add functionality and customize the experience with ChatOps. There is the slash commands and the plugins. And for our case, actually, we built the cloud plugin. The cloud bot allows the creation and the management of a test end in the SaaS platform directly from Mattermost using slash commands. From any channel, right? You can do this from any channel you are or DM to the bot, actually. So, and just a small example is, let's say that we're going to create a test Conf42. The slash cloud create test Conf42 is the one which we need to actually to write down in Mattermost, and this will return back to us that the installation has been initiated. You will see a notification when it's ready, and you can see the status of all of the cloud installations with the slash cloud list. And when everything is ready, the cloud bot will reply back to you with a DM that then the workspace has been created, that SN is there, here's the access URL actually, and here's the credentials we can use, and you can see something extra, which is the part we didn't discuss in this presentation about the monitoring control plane, where we can offer, a monitoring control plane for everyone, where they can see their workspace logs and the provisioner logs in case if something went wrong. So we didn't want to stop there. So we wanted also to offer the capability to be able to configure and compose your own environment. So we can do a couple of things with the slash cloud. So we're creating another one, which is called CloudWeek, and it has a specific license. It can generate some test data. It uses a specific size in terms of resources for the high availability and a specific file. So this gives us ability for the support team, for example, or for the sales team, or for the DevRel team, to create different kind of environments based on the usage they want to make and use cases they have in the scenarios, right? So right now, if we go back to the architecture and focus at least on the part which is the IDP, right, and how all the control planes are working together, we still have the control plane, the customer control plane, where the customers interact, right, and they create their own workspace, their managed workspace, and the Mattermost workspace. And from the left side, we have the two more the control planes, which is the developers control plane and the non-developers control plane, which they use both as an interface Mattermost and engineers only Github, which all of them interact with IDP, right, seamlessly without knowing exactly what's happening underneath. And right now we can see, right, the IDP consists of multiple managed services. The spinwick we discussed before, CloudBot, Mattermod is another one. We have a couple of other actually bots who are doing the same thing in small services. We interact with GitHub and Mattermost. And this is actually our internal developer platform story. And the story which relied actually how we build once and for all, right? For both worlds, customer and the internal organization. Learnings. The flexibility and the reusability of the same infrastructure give us much more confidence to be sure that what we deliver daily and the changes we had during the whole software development life cycle was stable, was able to perform, identify fast bugs of the issue, even identify non-healthy mattermost workspaces of the test ends, because we had the same mentality of the SLOs even in the test infrastructure and the test SaaS platform. It was really important for us and was a good learning that the developer and user experience needs to be seamless instead of creating something new and something which is out of the daily usage of the people that are going to interact with your platform. Run surveys, gather feedback, and listen to your internal and external customers is a really important thing. This is how actually the platform becomes better. And the last thing which we mentioned also is use your own product. This is the only way to identify, if what you have built is something actually meaningful for the customers, and if it fits to your needs and it's something which you can use, probably customers also can use. Of course, this needs other inputs, in terms of feedback, SLOs and other things. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Have a great rest of the day and have a great conference.